In this section, we're going to be talking about the Social Engineering Toolkit. So what is that? The Social Engineering Toolkit, also known as SET, is a third-party application that works directly with Metasploit. The tool is actually designed to exploit users through, as you guessed, social engineering using primarily email as an attack vector. However, it does have other options that you can use. It's installed by default with Kali. However, if you need to install it on any other machine, Unix-based, you can do it through their Git repository with the following commands: git clone https github trustedsec social engineering toolkit /set, and then change into the set directory, and then use the pip install and the requirements.txt, and it will download and put in all the pieces that you need to install and run the social engineering toolkit. So let's take a look at what it actually looks like when you run it. Okay, turning to our console, in order to run the social engineering toolkit, we have to go ahead and launch it. To launch the social engineering toolkit, we type in set OOL kit. So the set toolkit basically is what it looks like. Go ahead and hit enter. And the set toolkit runs basically via command line. So once it loads, it's going to give you a command set of functions that you can run. From social engineering attacks to third-party modules, you can update the social engineering toolkit, and then credits, and finally with the number 99 you can exit. So what we're going to do as part of the demo is show the first one, so social engineering attacks, and how it kind of integrates in with Metasploit. So we go ahead and select one, and then we get a new set of menu options here. So we can do spear phishing attacks, website, mass mailer, Arduino-based attacks, QR code generators. There's a number of things that you can choose from here. We're going to go ahead and just go simple and go with the first one with a spear phishing attack, because we're going to send email. And now it's going to go to the next set of menu systems where it tells you a little bit about what spear phishing is, and that do you want to create a mass mail email attack or perform a file format payload, which we've talked about before, or create a social engineering template. So we're going to go ahead and do a mass email attack, and we hit enter. And here's some payloads that the social engineering toolkit has available to it that it can launch for you. So we can do things like written DLL hijacks, we can do PDF embedded. A lot of them have to do with more of the Adobe related type stuff. So we're going to just go ahead and select one. We're going to do you have to be careful sometimes about what you choose, because if you send it via email specifically, some of the spam filters and email attack guards will pick that up. Such as if you select the first one, which is for RARs and zips, many email service providers will actually block that right on the top. So we don't always want to use that. And if you're going to use Gmail as your method of sending out email, it will pretty much block most of those that come out that are that way. So we're actually going to choose the second one, which is we're going to send a custom written document. And then here's where it tells you about if you're using Gmail, it asks you to create an application password. That may or may not necessarily be, you have to do that. However, if you are using Gmail, you will have to go into it and set it for not a low authorization for applications. What this does is it allows third-party applications to log into your Gmail account via sending in a username and password. Without that information, you won't be able to log in. But if you have it set at high, it will prevent the scripts here from actually logging in, sending out email on your behalf. So in this case, it's going to come up and ask you what kind of file name do you want to give it. By default, it's going to do moo.pdf. So I'm going to change it. I'm going to do a rename, and let's say we call it invoice.xls. So something else that's there. And then what we're going to do now is we can do a mass mailer, which we'll send out to a bunch of people, or we can do just a single email address, which is what we're going to do in this case. So we do a single email address. And now it asks you again, what do you want to use? Do you want to use a predefined template, or do you want to use a one-time email template? So what we're going to do is, for sake of time, we're going to use a predefined one. And here are the available email types that they have. Like, how long has it been? order confirmation, computer issue, new update, status report, things that are common, we see in spam all the time. So just be aware that they are ones that are definitely normal. So let's go ahead and go with new update. And we're going to send the email. So you just give it, because it's doing a 1, we're going to go ahead and type in the email address that we're going to send it to and hit enter. And then now it's going to ask you, do you want to use a Gmail account, which we've been talking about already, or do you want to use your own server or Open Relay? If you choose to, you're going to have to enter in all the parameters for an email server or an open gateway, including like the SMTP server, the gateway, all that. If you choose the first one, which is a Gmail account, you only have to supply the username and password, and the scripts will handle the rest of it for you. So we're going to go ahead and use a Gmail account. And it's going to ask you what Gmail account do you want to use. So you go ahead and put that in. And then it's going to ask you the name that you're going to want them to show up from. So we're going to put that in. And then it's going to ask you what the email password is for that. And then hit enter. And then it asks you, do you want to flag the email as high priority? In this case, we do not. And then does your email server support TLS? Gmail does not, so you would hit no. But if you decide to use an Open Relay, you would have to hit yes, and it supports TLS. So we do no. And now it's already delivered, or it's sent the email out. Now it's actually going to pivot over to the Metasploit and say, do you want to set up your listeners and everything for the payload that they created? So you go yes. And now you can see Metasploit is starting up. And now we're ready to actually accept. In this case, it started up a listener on all ports for 445. And the service is ready and waiting for the exploit to come through. Some of the other ones, if you want to go through the setups for them, they will ask you what the return IP address is and what port you want to go onto, just like we've done with other payloads, just depending on which one you choose. But what we've shown here is how you can move from the integration, the Social Engineering Toolkit, with being able to launch or integrate a Metasploit payload within that in the context of the two.